He left the sports bar where he had chilled with friends. They'd shot some pool, their usual trend. His seatbelt hooked, his mirror in place, his cell phone beside him just in case. As he drove from the lot, the white car he saw. Not much thought he gave it, he wasn't breaking the law. A left turn onto the street, his turn was solid. The white car turned and closely followed. He stopped at every stop sign. Each light he obeyed. His eyes on the road, each move fixed and stayed. 2 miles he drove, carefully watching his speed. 2 miles it followed without cause or need. He tried to remain calm and drive with precision, taking utmost care to avoid a collision. A right turn he made, his signal light blinking. A right turn it followed, no sign of shrinking. Through the gates of his addition, in just 2 blocks or 3, he thought, I'll be home, where I'm safe and free. But at the cul-de-sac, a red light did flash, punctuated by the sound of a siren blast. He drove to the curb and readied himself for the test. He rolled down the window and he took a deep breath, placed his hands on the steering wheel in plain sight, and he stared straight ahead to be courteous and polite. He readied himself for the officer's words. "Why are you in this neighborhood?" is what he heard. Surprised, he said, "I live in this neighborhood, officer, sir." "In this neighborhood?" the officer repeated, as if to infer. "And where do you live?" was the officer's reply. "At the end of this drive," he said, masking a sigh. "The end of this drive," the officer repeated, his patience and composure almost depleted. "What did I do, sir?" he politely persisted. "License and registration," the officer insisted. His license and registration to the officer he handed. "Did I do something, sir?" he respectfully demanded. "Have you been drinking?" the officer did pry. "No, sir, not at all," was his earnest reply. "Not at all, not a single drink," was the officer's replay. "Sir, I had not a single drink. Your test will say, step out of the car. Keep your hands in sight." He stepped from the car into a blinding light. The officer examined the front seat and then the rear. He looked at his license and at him with a sneer. "Sir, I live on this street, on this very block. The address on my license is the address on that box." His manner was calm, but his voice was stressed. He had lived this scene more than he would like to confess. The officer, looking sheepish, handed the license back. "There have been burglaries in this neighborhood. Just keeping track." "Yes, sir," he said through tightly clenched teeth, hiding the anger that simmered beneath. The officer turned and walked to his car. "Have a nice night," was heard from afar. Revving his engine, the white car sped away, and the driver stood there in utter dismay. He got into his car, and he sat for a spell. He breathed in deeply, his anger to quell. He drove into his garage and closed the door, where his dignity at last he could fully restore. Back home, in bed, and that's a good place, where he can finally relax and forget about race. But still, he feels only as safe as one can, living inside the skin of a black man.